Hi, this is Brad from Pro Wrestling Junkies, and today's guest hails from planet Earth, a place called Florida. And his first match was back in 2017. And he's worked all over, including Real Pro Wrestling, World Wrestling Network, American Combat Wrestling, and of course, he's worked 4 AEW dark matches since the spring. In March, he wrestled someone named John Moxley. And then in May, he returned for a tag match against Jimmy Havoc and Kip Sabian. In July, he came back for an 8-man tag against the Lucha Brothers and the Butcher and the Blade. And then just last week, he was on AEW Darkness 6-man tag against the Dark Order and Colt Cabana. So without further ado, I give you the monarch of manliness, Faboo Andre. Hey Faboo, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you today?
I'm doing good. You're looking great.
I try.
Yeah. So you grew up in Florida?
I did. I was born and raised in the Butterfly Gardens of Florida.
Yes. So I've heard. And so when did you decide I wanted to get into the ring?
I watched wrestling at a young age, so it was always something that I was interested in, but I didn't know how to do it until I was about 17. And that was when I decided that I was actually going to do it. It was when I went to a show and I found someone who was willing to train me.
Oh, yeah. So that's my next question. So, you went about and found a trainer, and then you have to pay, or what happens next?
Well, I found the train. So I went to the show a year prior to when I started training, and I was introduced to another trainer. And I was planning on going to his school, so I was saving up money. A year came around. I went to the show again because it's a yearly show, and there was another trainer there. I went to him instead, but I had already had the money saved up. I bought a car, and I just started going.
So the night before your first, training, were you nervous?
I mean, yeah, I was pretty nervous. I went there for I visited one time before I actually started training.
Okay.
But I mean, I really didn't know what to expect.
And so you get there. How many other people are training, for the first time at that point?
There was 2 other people there who had been training for a couple months prior to me.
Okay. So
that was a very small pool of people when I first started.
Did that make you feel like nervous or anything, that you were the one at the bottom at that point?
I mean, not really. They were both very nice, and I was just excited to learn.
So what was the first thing they taught?
Running the ropes, bumping. Really the basics.
And how long long do you practice that before you start moving on?
It depends on the person. It takes time for everybody. I mean, I don't want to say I was a quick learner, but I mean, I had my first match within 4 months, I think.
Oh, wow. Were the trainers rough on you?
It definitely wasn't the best match of the night, but.
So, and have you ever during the training before, you had your first match, did you ever reach a low point where you're like, I don't know, can I keep doing this? Or were you always focused on you were gonna
I was excited to do it. I wanted to do it. I was excited to have my first match. My family was supporting me. I mean, I really had every reason in the world to be excited about it.
So at what point do you start thinking about your character?
I've always thought about my character, when I was, maybe since I was 10, I remember thinking about who I wanted to be. Back then when I was 10, it was much different than it is now.
Yeah.
But I was just always thinking of characters were always a big part of wrestling to me. The wrestling was obviously a big deal, but I always loved guys like The Undertaker and Kane and guys who were larger than life.
Yeah. So you've taken that obviously with where your character is today. Were you surprised? So
yeah,
how did AEW find you?
Through one of my trainers.
Right.
I've had multiple different trainers throughout the years, but my current, he knew some people who were working there, and this was around the time when the whole shutdown started to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and AEW is based out of Florida. So it was just, instead of flying people in from California or other states where they had all these restrictions about it at the time, and they had to look locally. They started looking in Georgia and Florida, and I was lucky enough to one of his, I don't want to say premier, but one of his premier students that he picked to go up there.
And did the second and the third and the fourth time, did they come to you and ask you to come back?
Yeah, once we went up there the first time, we got their contact information where we were able to talk straight to each other rather than having the middleman.
And for your first match there, and you get to the arena, where do you go? Like, did they say go meet this person, and they'll take you to the dressing room?
The first time we went there, we didn't know where to go, really. We got there, we were told to go to a big tent to go for testing and in the parking lot. And then from there, there wasn't really any direction. It just, we asked where the locker rooms were. Actually, I take that back. The first time we were there, we were given directions as to where the locker rooms were because they were in a different spot than where we stayed these past couple times. So we were given much more direction the very first time, and then every time after that, it's just kind of, I don't want to say they trusted us to figure it out, but
so
there's been a lot less direction.
Yeah, oh, I bet. Do you talk to your opponents before the match, or are you just in the ring and just listen what they say?
For the most part, it depends on who we're working with that night. But
and did they give you feedback after the match?
Yeah. Every person that I've wrestled has given me feedback after the match, and we have producers who also give us feedback after the match and give us ideas for the match.
Oh, and so were you expecting, like, people went nuts about like your music that you came out to and your walk to the ring? Even Tony, I think it was Tony Schiavone who was like said something about it. Did you expect to have people go crazy on the internet for that?
Well, I didn't pick the music, so I honestly, I didn't listen to it. I was just focused on being myself.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, I want people to react that way. I want people to look at me and be like, oh, that's the butterfly. And I want them to react. It goes, yeah, I wanted them to react that way. As far as my music goes, I'm very happy that it got to the people who actually did my music contacted me after it aired and thanked me for using their music.
Oh,
so
wow, they enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm just happy it got to show some more independent music stars. Like, I'm an independent wrestler.
Yeah.
They're independent music, so it kind of helped both of us.
Yeah, it's a perfect match, actually. So do you watch wrestling differently than you did like when you were 10 years old? Like, do you watch it more critical or like as a fan still?
I mean, there are times when I see stuff and I know wrestling wise if it was or was not supposed to happen. But I mean, I still enjoy wrestling very much. I see it now that I'm older. I see things differently when I did when I was younger. So I still enjoy wrestling very much as a fan. Like, I love just getting lost in a match and enjoying it.
Do you have the WWE network?
I do.
Okay. I always ask everybody that. Okay, I don't want to keep you. It's a Saturday evening. I have no right to keep you. So I'm going to ask you just 5 random non-wrestling related questions. Yes or no's. If you want to elaborate, go ahead. If you don't, You don't have to.
All right.
All right.
Shoot.
Have you ever had a dream about yourself, but you were an animal?
Not off the top of my head, no.
Okay. Do you believe that the earth is flat?
I don't believe the earth is flat, no.
Okay. Would you ever get a facial tattoo?
No.
Okay.
No.
Do you wear silver to protect yourself from vampires when you go out?
I didn't know that was a thing. I knew garlic and spikes.
Okay. And then finally, can you lend me $3,000?
Not right now, I just bought a new car.
Damn it. All right, I'll find someone, I'm sure. All right, those are your 5 questions. Again, thank you so much. Where are you appearing next?
My next show is going to be August 25th, I think it was, at Thunder Championship Wrestling in Winter Haven, Florida.
Okay, is that indoor or outdoor?
I'm honestly not sure.
Okay, well, everyone's going to get tested anyway, so. Or,
Yeah, I'm
wear
sure
their
they're-
masks and everything. All right, well, I'd love to have you on again because I have a lot more questions, but then I would totally hijack your night. But I'd love to talk again about various other topics.
Of course.
All right, great. Well, good luck to you. Stay safe. I hope your friends and family are safe, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much, and I stay safe to you as well.
Thank you.